In this video, I want to share with you a simple tip to help improve your mood, boost your immunity, and lower any pain in your body. And that tip rotates around vitamin D and how to make sure that you have enough for your body to operate as well as it can operate. Vitamin D is absolutely critical to health. And that can be said for most vitamins and most nutrients, but vitamin D that's especially so. Almost every tissue type in your body has a receptor for vitamin D, and vitamin D has an effect on almost every tissue type, almost every system in your body. We've known for years that vitamin D is necessary for the formation of healthy bones, and we've also known that it helps with immunity. Recently, what studies have been showing is that vitamin D acts as an anti-inflammatory in your system, and as an anti-inflammatory, it helps cut down pain. It helps with your mood. It can even, studies are showing that it can even help with weight loss. Now, for most of us, we're deficient in vitamin D. 70% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D, and that level for deficiency is less than half of what the level for optimum health is. So 70% of us are deficient. Probably quite a few of that last 30% that have enough vitamin D could have more vitamin D and have better function because of it. Most of us don't even realize this is a problem because we've been deficient our whole life. So we've just grown accustomed to having a certain amount of pain, growing accustomed to getting sick a couple times every winter, growing accustomed to having these issues that just don't have to be there. Now, I'm not saying that vitamin D is going to eliminate them entirely, but it can help with every one of those, and more that I'm not getting into in this video. Why are we so deficient? Because vitamin D is generally something that our bodies do best in getting from the sun. We can get it from food, and we get it from animals or other organisms that create vitamin D from the sun themselves. And we can get trace amounts of that from food, but no matter how much you try to get from your diet, you're just not going to get enough vitamin D from your diet to make a difference. Compounding that is the fact that since we usually get it from the sun, historically we've had plenty of sun exposure, but modern life, we spend most of our time indoors. And especially during the midday sun, we've been taught to put on sunscreen to protect ourselves from the UVB rays. But those same UVB rays are the ones that produce the vitamin D. So most of us are not getting nearly enough vitamin D from the sun or from our food. And where does that leave us? I think supplements are really the way to go with vitamin D. It's simple, it's convenient, and realistically speaking, we're not going to get enough from food. We're not going to get enough from the sun. And there are a couple things that actually make it much more convenient with vitamin D than with a lot of other supplements. It's cheap, it's very available. There are only a few factories in the US that make it, although there are a lot of different brands. Those brands buy it from those same factories, so there isn't a lot of difference in quality between the different brands. And that's a big deal. For a lot of supplements, there's a great deal of variance in quality depending on where you buy it. But with vitamin D, you don't have to be so careful. I recommend getting it in oil form, which is usually how it comes. You can get it in liquid form, or you can get it in capsules. I like the liquid form because it allows you to tailor your dose specifically to you. And where to start with that dose? The Vitamin D Council recommends 5,000 IU's per day. And there's some debate within the field. There are a lot of other sources that recommend lower numbers. I trust the Vitamin D Council, and I've seen great results with my clients using that 5,000 IU's as a starting point. You're going to want to doctor that 5,000 IU's based on your own weight. The Vitamin D Council's recommendation assumes a 150-pound body, so you're going to want to bump that up or down depending on your body size. You're also going to want to bump that up or down depending on how much sun exposure you get. The Vitamin D Council assumes an average American lifestyle, which is primarily indoors, primarily in a northern latitude, but the further north you go, the more you'll need. The darker your skin, the less you're going to get from the sun. The more time indoors you spend, the more you're going to need. So doctor that 5,000 to fit you, but use that as a baseline. Another convenient thing about vitamin D is that it's fat soluble, meaning you don't have to take it every single day. So if you forget one day, just take twice as much the next day. You could even take all 7 days dose every Sunday if that's easier for you to remember. I like shooting for every day because it's easier for me to remember when something is an everyday routine and habit than it is for me to remember something just once a week. But however works best for you is the way that you should use. When possible, get your vitamin D tested. It's also cheap and readily available to do so. The number you're looking for is to be at least above 30, that's clinical deficiency, and as high as 70. 70 is what we believe is, according to the Vitamin D Council, and again, there is some disagreement in the field right now, but 70 to me and to the vitamin D console seems to be about where we get optimal function. If you start wandering above 70, lower your dose accordingly, and get those vitamin D tests as often as you need to find the right dose for you. That sounds a lot trickier than it is in reality. You can just start with a 5,000 IUs and ignore the tests, but the tests are a good way to make sure that you're getting enough and that you're not getting too much. If you look at the literature and talk to doctors about it, they're going to express concern because you can get too much vitamin D and it can be harmful, and that is absolutely in the medical literature. However, what's not so much in the medical literature that you have to do a little bit more digging to find out is how rare those cases are. Generally speaking, people who get the vitamin D poisoning are megadosing, taking more than 10,000 IUs a day and doing it for a long period of time. Routinely in hospitals, if somebody is deficient, they'll give 1 million IUs a day for a week just to get them up to speed. That's a long way from what I'm suggesting here, but it shows how much your body really can tolerate before it turns into a case of poisoning. The other way that people tend to get poisoning is from industrial accidents where something is fortified with vitamin D, but they put the wrong amount in it. And people have actually died from vitamin D poisoning, and that's how we know about it. But again, this isn't in the literature, and you have to do more digging. The people who died from it were polar explorers that ate entire polar bear livers, ate entire sea lion livers in one setting. And you're eating the animal's entire vitamin D stores for a season when you do that. So I recommend against eating sea lion livers and polar bear livers as an entire meal. All right, you've got your tips on how to use vitamin D, why you should use vitamin D, and you even got some bonus polar bear and vitamin D trivia. So next time you're out at the store, go ahead and pick some up. Try it out. Give it about a month before you expect to see results, but do expect to see results, and I'd be very surprised if you don't see results. I get great results with my clients from adding the vitamin D to their regimen, and I would expect that it would do the same for you. If you have more questions about vitamin D, check out the Vitamin D Council's website. If you'd like to hear more of what I have to say, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and check out other videos. Enjoy.